In yesterday's video, I touched on a change that needs to come to the game, in my personal opinion. But there are others as well that I'm going to be addressing inside today's video as well. And we're going to jump right into it, starting off with the amount of essences you can turn in. You're only allowed to turn in 100 essences before you don't get the bonuses for doing so, such as loyalty bonus, which I'm actually right up upon right now. And that number is 100. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, that is a lot of legendary pieces of gear. Who is actually farming 100 pieces of legendary gear? I think it's a week's time that you have that window for 100 pieces. And really, for most players, they're never going to reach this. They're never going to experience this. It's also not something that I've often experienced myself, just a few times. Once it was because I had switched classes and I turned in a whole bunch of gear that I was saving for a previous class, so I had a ton. And I actually had a bunch of stuff in my stash as well. And the other time was just from an insane week of farming. I literally farmed like a beast all week long, and we got a bunch of stuff. So removing that 100 cap for legendary pieces of gear would probably be beneficial. With that being said, I think that a very small percentage of people actually ever feel that. I don't think that it's the priority of the two we're about to talk about here today. So I figured we'd talk about that one and put it out of the way. If you're someone that has that experience and you're someone that has this, that meets that cap on a regular basis, and you're actually wasting essences or at least your loyalty bonus, let me know in the comment section below, because as it sits with me, I would assume that most people do not experience that very often. But what's something that is more realistic and more like to have more people experience it? And for me, that's going to be what we mentioned in yesterday's video, the battle pass and the battle point level not granting you any more XP. Essentially what's happening is every single week you're allowed to turn in 2,400 battle point caps or battle points, and it's capped at 2,400. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. This is actually not a ton. If we take a look at right here, what I've done throughout the week, let's take a look. The bestiary, it's because I had a big week farming. I was turning in, I don't know, 10 monstrous, 15 monstrous essence every single day. Look at the points I got right here. That's literally half of the cap right there just from farming, getting monster essence. Then we were doing a bunch of random dungeons. We were just running a whole bunch of dungeons. I was trying to get myself some green gear and kind of ease my way through the dungeons. We got decent points there as well. Didn't do much anywhere else. Heliquary we did a little bit. And of course we did our bounties for the week. We were very quickly met with this battle point cap on Thursday. And not even at the end of Thursday. That means I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and half of Thursday, and I had already met my cap. That was literally half of the way through the week. Now, I understand why the cap is here. The cap is in place so that players don't go too far above the server paragon level. As it sits right now, I am 11 levels above server paragon, and I'm only receiving 20% of any rewards that I gain. So if someone gains 100 XP because they are at server paragon, they get 100 XP for an activity. For that same activity, I'm only going to gain 20 XP. Only 20% of what someone at server paragon would receive. And again, if you're someone that's way below server paragon is 320. If you're sitting at 150, you're going to get a ton. I think it's like 16 times or something. So every 100, you'll get 1,600. It's the catch-up mechanic inside of the game. So the battle point cap is in place so that players like myself and many others that grind even longer than I do inside of the game aren't able to get too big of an advantage over players that are a little bit more casual inside of the game as I fix my microphone. So really, I understand why it's in place. But I also believe that the cap is just way too low. I mean, 2,400 for me. I'm a guy that has multiple YouTube channels, a family, and I have a full-time job. And I met this cap on a Thursday midday. For people that are grinding and just spending 5-6 hours per day inside of the game, they're reaching this on a Tuesday night. And what I found is, and the whole reason that I wanted to do this was I was sitting on my couch tonight watching a movie with my wife, and typically I'll have Diablo Immortal on, and I'll run some dungeons, or I'll do some open world farming, some circle farming or something, just something passive. Tonight I was like, why? I'm not even going to do it. Now, obviously, I would still get the gear. I would still gain experience from what I'm doing inside of the game, but a big jump that you get from experience is from claiming your battle pass rewards. So for me, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go grind a little Raid Shadow Legends instead, because the time here was not worth it without getting this buff. So I propose a change. One that is in good balance, in my opinion. I don't want myself or other players to be able to get 20 or 30 levels above server paragon. If we do, it's just going to be that much more difficult for people to catch up. Although, really, when you think about it, you'll be getting so few rewards. I don't even know what you would be getting at that point. But if I'm getting 20% rewards and I'm 11 levels above server paragon, if I were 20 levels above server paragon, what would I be getting? Would it drop down to 10? Is that I don't even know what the lowest it goes to is. 5%? It can't be 0%. Or could it? But there are definitely people that I've seen on the server today that were at paragon 340. So they are 20 levels above server paragon, gaining minimal rewards at best. But what they are gaining are a bunch of the materials that we need so we could upgrade gear. This is how people have these gear slots that are set up all at 30. Now for me, it wasn't worth the time. But for some players, they are just trying to grind all this up, get everything 30, which is actually not a bad grind, especially since what we've been talking about in previous weeks. We're anticipating that at some point in time, these gear slots, they're going to go up to level 40 or 50. Right now, the max level is 30. So if it does jump up that high, the people that are sitting on, you know, 1 million, 2 million scrap, because there are people that have that much scrap lying around, they're going to be able to really do some big upgrades quickly on their gear slots, which for them is a great position to be in. For me, I am not quite there. So my proposal is that instead of having a cap of 2,400 right here, that we double the cap. Let's make it 4,800. 4,800. That means for me, I grind the game pretty hard, but I have a life, a pretty busy life on top of it. That means for me, on a week like this week, which was a very good grinding week for me, I would have been able to make it all the way until Sunday before I met the cap. And that was with me putting in multiple hours per day. This means that for players that are playing so much that they're getting capped out on a Tuesday, at least they're going to be able to get double as much time and get capped out on a Thursday or Friday instead, rather than having to grind for 5 more days without battle pass pushes. I think it's fair. I don't think it's too much to ask to bump this up to 4,800. Doubling the cap. I do understand the cap needing to be in place. Totally makes sense. But it was demotivating for me personally. Now, I'm someone that makes content for the game. That's someone that absolutely loves the game. So for me to get demotivated to play it because of a simple cap mechanic, it seems like it's probably hindering a lot of other players as well. And then we have a good number of players that probably have never seen this cap. They've probably never reached it before because they just don't play enough. And that's fine. Those players are casual players. They're grinding the game and enjoying it as it is. And that's totally fine for them. So for me, I want to see the cap go up. Wouldn't mind seeing the 100 essence cap increase as well. Not for me personally. That one doesn't bother me as much. But I have heard a lot of other complaints come through on Discord from players that are saying that that cap is really hindering them from their farming grind as well. So let me know which of those is a bigger hindrance to you as a player inside of Diablo Immortal, or if you're a player that's never experienced either one of them. Maybe you're someone that has never felt a cap and never seen one inside of the game. So for you, you're like, Echo, what's the big deal, man? It's not a big deal. And then you have players that grind 5 times as much as I do that are saying, all right, yeah, let's get that cap up. Let's actually make that cap 10,000. I think 4,800 is a good number. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day on Sunday. Remember to enjoy family and friends as well, after you're done watching the video and all.